All right, welcome players. I am your emergency trainer, and today we are getting you fully briefed and ready for the 2026 Beacon exercise. My main goal in this explainer is to make sure that when April 30th rolls around, you know exactly what your duties are, how to report in, and honestly, how to survive the simulation. You know the saying, we train for the worst so we can perform at our best. And well, this scenario, it is absolutely as bad as it gets. Okay, I want you to picture this. It's precisely 0634 Pacific Daylight Time, and the USGS issues a shake alert. A massive 8.8 magnitude earthquake has just ruptured the San Andreas Fault. Now, we're not talking about a minor tremor here. This is a totally catastrophic event that completely wipes out traditional communications across all of coastal California. Cell phone towers, they're severely damaged or totally overloaded. Internet connectivity is completely severed and landlines are dead, just gone. And that catastrophic scenario right there is the absolute foundation of the Beacon exercise. Your job is to build a common operating picture and coordinate mutual aid using only alternate communication systems. Keep in mind, this is an 8-hour functional exercise. That means we're not just sitting around a table having a nice chat about what we would do. No way. You're going to be actively testing what you actually have on hand, what you really know, and how well you can actually communicate when the infrastructure we rely on every single day is just completely wiped out. So here is our tactical briefing agenda for today. We'll quickly run through Welcome to Beacon 2026, your role as a player, Module 1, Impact Assessment, Module 2, Requesting Aid, Module 3, Resource Updates, and then wrap up with some final tips for success. Moving right along to your role as a player. The mission. Let's dive in and clarify exactly what you'll be doing out there on exercise day. Now, this quote straight from the exercise brief is basically our core mantra for the day. Participants will operate as if it were the real thing. No internet, no landlines, and absolutely no do-overs. You literally have to play exactly where you work. If your agency's real-world plans have you sitting at your specific desk using a specific handheld radio, well, that is exactly what you're going to do. You'll use only the tools realistically available to you in a total, complete blackout. As a player, you aren't just here to sit back and observe. We have dedicated observers and evaluators for that. You are the boots on the ground. You're the one initiating actions, discussing strategies with your team, and relaying vital intelligence up the chain of command. In a lot of ways, you're the nervous system of this entire disaster response. Now, remember our major constraints. Primary comms are dead, so you're going to rely entirely on auxiliary communications to get the job done. This means tapping into volunteer-based systems like amateur ham radio, GMRS, and the WinLink network. But hey, here's a really critical detail from the playbook. You can also use SMS text messaging on your smartphone. Why? Well, when voice networks are totally congested, a text message requires significantly less bandwidth, eats up way less battery power, and you can blast it out to multiple recipients all at once. It's an incredibly realistic and resilient tool for this kind of scenario. All right, here's a mental map of your day. The exercise is broken down into 3 critical, really high-pressure modules, and it all kicks off at 10 a.m. local time. With each module, your core responsibilities are going to shift, moving from gathering intelligence over to requesting logistical aid, and finally to maintaining situational awareness. Which brings us to Module 1, Impact Assessment. This starts right at 10 o'clock hours, and it's where we really need your situational awareness to shine. There is a strict, absolutely crucial rule for Module 1. Your field reports must be pure intelligence. And by that, I mean you are reporting observations of damage only. You might report a collapsed building or maybe a damaged transmission line down near a school, but, and this is huge, you must include 0 resource requests. Do not ask for generators, don't ask for search and rescue teams yet. Why? Because at this initial stage, the emergency operations centers just need to assess the raw damage across the entire region before they can even think about allocating scarce resources. So here's how that workflow actually builds. You're going to follow the chain of command. Step 1, you, the field player, observe the simulated damage. Step 2, you send that field report via radio or text directly to your single point of contact, or SPOC. And Step 3, the SPOC receives all of these highly localized reports, analyzes the cascading impacts, and then uses that vetted intelligence to prepare for the next phase. Next up is Module 2, Requesting Aid. Right at 12 o'clock hours, we pivot away from just gathering intelligence and move straight into logistical action. Operational clarity here is an absolute must. We've got a very strict division of labor happening. Field players are responsible for sending those raw damage reports using radio or text. Meanwhile, the local SPOC takes all that raw data and formalizes it into official Emergency Managers Mutual Aid, or EMMA, requests. And the SPOC is going to use different tools for this, specifically the WinLink application or standardized email formats over those auxiliary networks. Now, if you're operating as a Spark for your operational area, your main duty in Module 2 is drafting these requests. You are highly encouraged to use the WinLink application templates. But hey, if your specific group doesn't have access to WinLink, the playbook does say you can fall back on plain text email formats based on the examples in the exercise appendix. You'll fire those requests off to regional and supporting partners all across the Western U.S. interior. Finally, we hit Module 3, Resource Updates. At 1400 hours, we enter the last phase, which is all about maintaining that common operating picture as the situation inevitably evolves. If you take a look at the logistics hierarchy, you're going to see that you'll be collaborating really heavily with the Incident Communications Center. So whether you're an affiliated emergency manager or maybe a volunteer ham operator, you're part of this massive interconnected web funneling status updates up and down the chain. The absolute crucial takeaway for Module 3 is communication flow. Controllers are actually going to send spokes specific injects, which are essentially just script updates, about resource changes. So maybe those generators you requested back in Module 2, they're delayed by 48 hours. You must continuously blast out these resource status changes to all your operational area partners using email, text, or voice radio. Literally everyone in your local emergency operations center needs to know exactly what aid is arriving and, just as importantly, what isn't. All right, final tips for success. Before we wrap up this briefing, let's just go over a few quick tactical tips to make sure you survive the simulation and provide the maximum amount of value to your team. First off, make sure you follow your local chain of command and confirm your activation with your supervisor. Second, bring your required tools, right? Have your radio or your smartphone ready for texting. Third, and I really cannot stress this enough, grab your analog backups. Have a physical notebook and a pen sitting right there, because when tech completely fails, paper doesn't. When you communicate, keep it crystal clear, and if you have to make an assumption just to move forward in the scenario, explicitly state that assumption to your group. And finally, don't break character. Treat every single simulated field report as vetted, factual, real-world intelligence. We train under these extreme, chaotic conditions to build true resilience between our public safety agencies and our auxiliary volunteer networks. So, I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. When the real 8.8 magnitude quake hits and the grid goes completely dark, will you be ready to answer the call? Good luck out there, players.